So being in the darkness now reminds me of how our Bible story ended last week. Y'all remember? Jesus was arrested, beaten, and hung on a cross. And when he finally died, it all went dark. But things didn't stay dark, did they? No, they didn't. That's what we get to discover today. Before we find out what happened to Jesus after he died on the cross, I'm going to show you 3 pictures of 3 poses. I want you to choose one. Are you ready to see them? During this story, I'm going to show you a picture and it has hidden items in it. Whenever I tell you to find an item, you need to look at the picture, find the item that I tell you to, and strike your pose when you find it. After Jesus died, Joseph, a follower of Jesus, took his body and wrapped it in cloths. Let's see what happens next. Whenever you see the picture, I need you to find a big rock. And remember, strike your pose whenever you find it. Ready? Go! Guys, Joseph took Jesus' body, he wrapped it in a linen cloth, and he placed it in his own tomb, which is like a small cave. And then they rolled a giant stone in front of the entrance. And whenever I say giant, I mean ginormous. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This thing won't budge. And you know what? The stone they rolled in front of Jesus' tomb was even bigger, heavier, and more immovable than this heavy egg. In fact, the stone that was used would have weighed 2,000 to 3,000 pounds. That's huge! That wasn't the only thing keeping Jesus in the tomb, though. Whenever I say go, look at the picture and find the sword. Ready? Go! Good work, guys. The Roman leaders were worried that Jesus' disciples would try to steal his body and pretend like he had come back to life. So they sent a bunch of soldiers to go and guard the tomb so no one could mess with it. These were probably the biggest and baddest soldiers that they could find. Show me your meanest look, so mean that your grandma wouldn't even want to hug you. It has to be meaner than that. Even though these soldiers were the biggest, baddest, and meanest around, something happened that made them run like a couple scaredy cats. Hey, what's wrong with the scaredy cat? Whenever I say go, I need you to look at the picture and find the lightning bolt. Don't forget to strike your pose when you find it. Ready? Go! Days after Jesus died, an angel appeared at the tomb. His clothes were as white as snow and he was as bright as lightning. The angel moved the huge, ginormous, immovable stone all by himself. And how do you think that those Roman soldiers reacted? They fainted. After all this happened, Mary, the mother of Jesus, and some other women arrived at the tomb. They were bringing perfume to put onto Jesus' body. Whenever I say go, I want you to look at your paper and find the perfume bottle. Remember, strike your pose when you find it. Ready? Go! Got to the tomb, the stone was already rolled away, and the angel was sitting on top of it. Let's listen to hear what the angel said to the women.
Don't be afraid. I know that you are looking for Jesus, who was crucified. He is not here. He has risen, just as he said he would. Come and see the place where he was lying.
Jesus was alive! They ran off to tell the other disciples the good news. They were so excited, but before they even got too far, they ran into Jesus himself. They fell down at his feet and they worshipped him.
Do you know what's amazing about the Easter story? Jesus wasn't just a little dead, or kind of dead, or even mostly dead. Jesus was completely 100% dead as a doornail. And do you know what normally happens to people who are dead? They stay dead. But not Jesus. No way. A little case of being completely dead couldn't stop him. After 3 days in that dark tomb, God brought him back to life. Not just a little bit alive, or kind of alive, or even mostly alive. Jesus is completely 100% alive today. Isn't that amazing?
There's something even more amazing, though. On Easter morning, God didn't just bring Jesus back to life. He brought us back to life, too. Some of you might be thinking, wait a second, I didn't know I was dead. Well, hate to break it to you, but you were. Not for real dead, not dead and in a grave. You see, before you knew Jesus, you were spiritually dead. That means you were separated from God and living in darkness of your sin. Can you imagine having an Easter egg hunt with a blindfold on? Well, you know what? That's kind of what it's like whenever you don't have Jesus in your life. You're spiritually dead. You're living in darkness of sin. You stumble around. You run into trouble. Things seem to always go wrong. On Easter morning, Jesus gave us a way out of the darkness of sin. And that's what our Bible verse for today tells us.
So he gave us new life because of what Christ has done. He gave us life even when we were dead in sin. God's grace has saved you. Ephesians 2:5. Hee-haw!
When Jesus rose from the dead, he gave us the opportunity to live a new life, one that is free from the darkness of sin. When you choose to become a Christian, to love and to follow Jesus, God's grace removes you from that darkness. And when that happens, you're free to grab hold of that amazing gift that God has for you. The gift of living a joy-filled life on earth, and then the gift of getting to live forever with God in heaven. There's no greater gift than that, guys. And you know what? I can't think of a better way to end this Easter story than singing a praise song to Jesus.
Got the joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Where